Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Haley and you're watching Between the Pages. My second book review for you today is the companion sort of sequel to The Whispering Dark, and that is Your Blood, My Bones, again by Kelly Andrew. Like I said, this is a spiritual sequel to The Whispering Dark. It's in the same universe. You kind of see the same characters. So like I mentioned in The Whispering Dark, like this does have Delaney and Colton in it. They are towards the end of the book. It's like 75% through. And the main character, Wyatt, her cousin is Mackenzie, and Mackenzie goes to school with Delaney. So they come in later, but like I said, this is a spiritual sequel. It's in the same universe. There are a lot of the same things. At one point, they mentioned rips in the sky, and that was my first clue that I was like, oh, are these in the same universe? Because in The Whispering Dark, you know, they go to a school where they learn how to walk through the rips in reality. So I was like, okay, now I see how these tie in together. So this is about Wyatt Westlock, and her father has just died, and her mother wants nothing to do with the mansion that she's inherited. So she goes to burn it down, and she finds her best friend, this one right here, Peter. His name is Peter. She finds him tied up in the basement, like half dead. And she was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, what is going on here? So yeah, let's get into it. This again has a lot of things that I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, I was like, why does Kelly Andrew write like this? Like, I really don't think she's the author for me. Like this one, I think I gave it 2. The Whispering Dark, I think I gave it 3 because I loved, like I said, I loved Colton and Delaney. Didn't really care that much for the story, but I liked the characters. I don't like anybody in this book, so I gave it a 2. I will be unhauling it as soon as I'm done with this review. But yeah, you find out that James, they're kind of like a trio of friends. You find out that he's been dead this entire time, and he was killed by Peter for like a ritual reason. And I was like, I am so confused. This doesn't make any sense. There's also, I mean, I kind of should have seen it coming about the whole like James being dead thing, because like the phone keeps ringing, and it's one of those tropes where like the phone's ringing and it shouldn't be ringing because it's like pulled from the wall. And so anytime the phone rings, Peter tells Wyatt, don't answer the phone. And she's like, but it's James, I have to answer the phone. And Peter's like, don't answer the phone. Because there's like this like spirit that Peter is bound to named the Beast, or called the Beast. And basically Peter is like hundreds of years old and like cannot die, or like he can die, but when he dies, he comes back as an infant and like completely like starts his life over again. So like he can die, but like he's never like dead forever. Like it's one of those where it's like they can die, but they always come back to life. And the whole point of Peter like being tied up in the basement is because Wyatt's family uses kind of what I'm going to call like blood magic to keep up the wards around the property to keep the beast out. And now that there's no one doing like ritual sacrifice anymore, the wards are down and the beast is like infiltrating into the mansion and their lives. And so the whole like ritual thing is they have to kill Peter, bury his bones, then dig them up. Like once they're like skeletal, they crush the bones up, mix their blood in it, and then like use that for magical purposes. So I was like, oh, cool concept. I really do like that, because I'm like, I like blood magic and death magic and everything like that. So I was like, yep, hell yeah, right up my alley. Again, like I liked the concepts in The Whispering Dark. I liked the concepts in Your Blood, My Bones. Not executed that great, in my opinion, at least. So like I said, about 75% in, Delaney and Mackenzie show up. But it's like Mackenzie shows up to help her cousin Wyatt. and they're driving in the car, and it mentions that Mackenzie is talking to a girl who's in the passenger seat, and I was like, okay, I don't know who she's talking to. This person has not been named because Wyatt doesn't know who Delaney is. And so, like, Mackenzie is like, oh, yeah, well, you can just shower at Colton's place. And I was like, what? Excuse me? Did you just say Colton? Like, Colton is in this book. I mean, again, I wasn't sure that this was in the same universe, but then, like, Colton got name dropped, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is definitely in the same universe. And again, the Your Blood, My Bones answers a lot of questions that are not answered in The Whispering Dark. Like, for example, when Colton comes back in The Whispering Dark, it is said in Your Blood, My Bones that makes him a demon. Because I forget, Mackenzie says something about, like, Colton being a demon, and Peter's like, wait, you're a demon? And Colton's like, yeah, you got a problem with that? And I was like, what? What? Colton's a demon? Excuse me? Did not get that from The Whispering Dark. And then I was like, okay, are we retconning The Whispering Dark, or was this not explained very well in The Whispering Dark and I just didn't get it? Like, please explain, Kelly Andrew. Like, was this your intention and it's nobody got it? So you're like, okay, well, if they read Your Blood, My Bones, I guess I'll just put it in there and that'll explain what happens in The Whispering Dark. And I was like, okay. You shouldn't have to read a second book to explain what happened in the first one, because The Whispering Dark is kind of a standalone and Your Blood, My Bones is kind of a standalone. They're just in the same universe, kind of like Sarah J. Maas books. Like, you shouldn't have to read everything she's ever written to understand what's happening in the current book that you're reading. Like, no, that is not how that works. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to reread The Whispering Dark, and I reread it, and again, I didn't get the whole Lainey being a necromancer and Colton being a demon. I was like, I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. I also really did not like the ending, because it did one of those endings where they don't end up with anybody, like the main character, and I was like, excuse me, I want a happy ending, or like a happy-ish, like a happy for now ending, whereas like at the end you find out that the Beast was never tied to James in the first place, because they thought if they killed the Beast they were gonna kill James, since the Beast is inhabiting James' body. So that's not what happened. The Beast is actually tied to Peter. So since Peter was killed, the Beast was killed. And so Peter, like, dies, like, for the final time, forever. And I was like, okay, well, were James and Wyatt supposed to be in-game? Or was Peter and Wyatt supposed to be in-game? Like, who's in-game? And, like, never answered. I don't think I will be reading anything else by Kelly Andrew, because as you can see, both of these books make me like visibly angry and frustrated, just talking about them. And so I don't think I'll be reading from Kelly Andrew again, unless it's like, maybe I'll do like a Third Time's the Charm type thing, where I reread different authors that I've read 2 books from and I don't know if they're for me, and then I'll read the third one and then make a decision. But yeah, I'm gonna unhaul My Blood, My Bones. I'm gonna keep The Whispering Dark. I do like it as a story. I like the characters. It's just some things are not explained very well, which maybe that's just me. Maybe that's her writing. I really don't know. So I guess I will see you guys later.